Okay, and what I'm going to do today is the third part of topography. This is going to be Topo Gradient. Gradient is figuring out its slope, whether it's actually a steep slope or a gentle slope, and then how much it is, how steep it is, how gentle it is. Basically, it's like looking at the grade of a map. My kids get very familiar with grades being posted. Let me make sure I've got a pen. Get posted something like this, where they get a 45 out of 45. Or they can get a 45 out of 50, or they can get a 3 out of 60. Did those for relatively math. And you know, if you get a 45 out of 45, you get 100%. If you get a 45 out of 50, that's a 90. And you get this one, this is a 5. And all that's doing is the same thing as this. They're saying that if you go 100 feet of road, you're going to drop 18 feet. And that's just 18 over 100, or an 18%. And that's all they're saying when they give you this number. Here's the 30%. Don't go by this picture because this looks very similar. I will tell you that a 30% grade is very scary. In fact, actually the steepest road I could find with Google is actually called Monterey Street. Monroe Street, sorry. Monroe. And this street descends between 638 and 430. 430, so it descends 208 meters over a distance of 740 meters of street. You can get rid of the units because they're both there, and that works out to a 28.1% slope. And that actually means that for every 3.56 feet, and it doesn't matter if you say use meters or feet, could be miles, this road goes down 1. And that's actually a very steep slope. It can be registered a couple of different ways. You can, that actually is telling trucks to be careful, telling you you've got a hill, an 8% slope. Use lower gears, 8% grade or slope. For the next 7 miles, for the next 11 kilometers, which is the same unit, you get a 9% grade over that same thing. You've got a sand road, a gravel road, a paved road, runaway truck ramp, 1 mile, runaway truck ramp that direction, a truck escape ramp, right there, and then hill blocks of view. This is a runaway truck ramp, and you can see that it's actually saying that you want to get over into this lane. So imagine a truck is barreling down here. Imagine a truck is barreling down here and finds out that it doesn't have its brake. So what it wants to do is move over. I guess it's coming this way. It wants to move over to this margin, and then it wants to hit this ramp. Now, first thing you notice is the ramp goes up. That's going to slow the truck's progression. Second thing is this is made out of sand, so the tires are going to sink into the sand, causing more friction. But that's what this runaway truck ramp is supposed to do, and I would love to run through those, but I've heard it's not very good for your car. Okay, the last thing is we're going to go down to this map, and we remember this map from Topographic Map where I went over the 9 rules, and you can see where we have steep sloped and gentle sloped, and you have depressions, and you have points that are all the same altitude connected by the same line, and some of these things go off the map, and then they come back on the map someplace else because they're all closed circles. Contour interval, we have index contours that have the number, we have intermediate contours that don't. There's 4 of them there unless something changes dramatically, sort of like this one, where you've got this thing added to it, or if you go this way you're counting this line twice. But that's pretty much all of it. But what we're going to try to do is figure out the slope. If I wanted to climb from A to B, or A to B, or A to B, or A to B, what kind of slope would I expect to find? Now, if you guys can look at these, can you figure out which one is the most gentle and which is the steepest one? I'm going to guess that this one right here is one of those, and I'm going to guess that this one right here is another one. But all we have to do is, let me pick a color that I haven't used. We want to pick A and B, and our altitude for A is, can you see that okay? 4340. Our altitude of B is 4300, and our change in elevation is 40 feet. That's number one. Our number two, which is up here, starts at 4300, goes all the way up to, and I'm just going to write these, the largest number at the top. It doesn't matter because we make an absolute value anyway. So we get a 7, 1, and then 7, 8, 817 feet. Remember, these are, you probably should be putting those for each one of these. These are United States measurements. These are in feet. Number 3 down here starts at 4,400, goes up to 5,100, and that is 600-700 feet of altitude change going up. This one is going down, this one is going up, and then this one also is going to be going up. And this goes from 4,500, this is our number 4, and goes all the way up to 5,100, and that's a change of 600 feet. I said I should be doing these. I do them for the answer. I wasn't very good at doing those. Okay, so now we're going to go down and take a look at the equation for gradient or grade. And remember, this is just asking for the grade of the road. How well did the road do? 100% would be really cool, except that 100% is a 45-degree angle. You do a 1 to 1. Not the best road, if you're especially going down. I think going up would be pretty scary too. But it's a change in your field value. Remember, field value is actually anything that has a point in time and space. That has a point in time and space, so does that, and every one of these lines does. And then change of the distance divided by the distance. So, first thing we do is we figure out the change in elevation. We've got that. Next thing, we figure out the distance, and for that we need a key. Here's our key. And I am going to estimate these things. I try to draw these lines so that they actually represent some of these. Excuse me. And what this one was supposed to be is 1.5 of these. So that would be 3/16 because this is an eighth. These are tenths of an eighth. If you count over, we get 3, 4, 5. There's another eighth. So this would actually be 3/16. So 1 is about right there. So this is going to be divided by, I did the math already, and each of the eighth is 660. So this is divided by 990, and I'm going to pick a different color. And 40 goes into that number, not very much. If that was a 5, it would be 5%, because this is just about 1,000, so this is about a 4% grade. Not the best color. Can I pick red? This is a 4% grade. Now, granted, it's not a 4% all the way around. You're going to be going downhill, downhill, downhill to that point about right there, and then you're going to be going up. But it's just looking from this point to that point. That's a 4% grade. Up here for number 2, this was 5/8, so it's 5 of these numbers. And so that's 817, and we're going to divide that one by 3,300, and we're going to get a number. This goes in there, it's about a 1/4, so this is about a 25% grade, and I'm not really worried about perfect numbers, but you can see that 8 goes into 32, and then we have a couple extra there for that 100. That's about a 25% grade. Number 3, we go down here, this is 750, and we said this one was about this whole distance. So this is a quarter of a mile, and a quarter of a mile is 1220, and that number goes in there just about twice. It's a little shy of twice, so it's a little more than 50%. I'm going to say it's a 55%, maybe a little lower, a little higher. And that would be a pretty steep grade. 55% is larger than any road, and this is why we don't build roads straight up mountains. This is why we try to build the roads. If I can pick out a different color, we try to build the roads so that they look more like this, and that changes not the altitude that we're going to go up, but it changes the distance, which if you change the distance, you actually increase this number, which makes this one lower. And these are called switchbacks. So that's the way we do it. And probably the steepest of all the roads is this one. And again, I calculate this one to be about about an eighth of a mile. So this would be dividing this number by 6, dividing it by 660, which makes this number really close to a 100%. It's a little bit shy, so let's say it's a 97% slope. And what that means is for every 100 feet you go, you drop or you increase, depending on which way you go, 100 feet. It's a 1-to-1, basically 100% gradient. Okay, that's it for gradient. So we've actually talked about how we show topographic lines. We've actually shown about how we figure out the profile, and now we've actually figured out the gradient. So hope you enjoyed that, and hope you learned something. Thank you much.